Okay, so picking up right where we left off in the previous video, we added the enemy unit spawning. In this one, we are going to look at the collision detection between the enemy and our castle, and the player and enemy units with each other. So let's start with the castle. So we're going to click on the castle. Make sure there's a box collider 2D here already and that it's set to trigger. If not, it's just add component physics 2D, box collider 2D, and then you set that checkbox. Now, just as we determined what is being collided with by using a tag, so like the castle, we added a tag. We're going to add a bunch of new tags for this part of the project. So for our castle, we're going to click on tag, then add tag, plus sign, call this our castle, and then we save, and then remember you got to come back and actually select the tag because you're really just creating the tag, you haven't actually selected it yet. So now this has a tag. So now let's go to game flow, because the enemy castle has HP, but we never did that for this castle. So public static int our castle HP, and we'll name it that so we have some semblance of a naming convention. We'll set it to 100, and again, it needs to be static so that this variable is accessible anywhere in the application by any object. So now the player castle has an HP variable, and it now has a tag. So now we can have the enemy units detect collision with it. So if we go to enemy melee, what we can do is we can take the melee, we could take this from the player melee and just repurpose it. Again, partly laziness and partly reinforcing the fact that this is not new functionality, that we already reviewed this. So I just took that from the melee conscript, and it's saying if a collision with another object happens, we want something to occur. We check to see if the tag of that other object is our castle. If so, then we want it to stop moving and we want it to start doing damage. So let's take that same coroutine and paste it here. And just like that, we've added the functionality. Actually, not quite. We need to change this so it's our castle HP. So let's make sure that works. And in the debug, we'll also change that to our castle HP. Save that. So down here, it should change to like 90, 95, 90, so on and so forth. There we go. So just like that, the melee units can now damage the player castle. So I'm now going to actually change a little bit of naming here, because right now this says melee attack rate. Now, while the actual naming of the routine doesn't matter, I want it to be more clear what we're doing. So this isn't so much melee attack rate so much as this is castle damage, because it's only going to be used for castle damage. You'll see why in a minute. So we'll change this to castle damage, because the way that we're going to handle damage to the individual units is going to be entirely different. So by doing this, we have not changed the functionality, we've just improved the internal documentation, the self-documentation, that the code is more clear as to what it's doing. It's only castle damage. So we can come over to melee and do the same thing. We can call this castle damage. Castle damage. And castle damage. So now what we're going to do, we are now going to look at the units damaging each other. So for that, we really need them to also have tags because, again, that's how we said that we're determining what is being collided with based on tag. So for soldier melee, we're going to click on the prefab, choose add tag plus, and we'll call this R melee. Save it, go back to the prefab, and again, actually assign it. Enemy soldier, add tag plus enemy melee. Save it. Click on it, and again, choose the tag. So now what we need, we already detect a collision with the enemy castle, and when that happens, we say stop moving. So now we need to do the same thing for the enemy. So right now we're in the melee conscript, which is for the player. So if other dot tag equals enemy melee, squiggly brackets, and we'll use the same get component to stop it from moving. And now we take this, paste it into the enemy melee, except it needs to be R melee. So just like that, the two objects, the enemy melee and the player melee units, should now detect a collision with each other and should stop moving when they collide. Let's run that to make sure I didn't miss anything. There we go. They stop moving. Now they need to do the damage. They need to damage each other, and this is where it gets a little bit more tricky. So as I said a couple minutes ago, the way damage will be tracked between units will be different than the way damage is tracked on the castle. So what's going to happen, right now, the player unit is attacking the castle, and the player unit script is determining how much damage is being done to the castle. We're going to flip that. For the units that you're spawning, they're going to track how much damage they're receiving based on what they are colliding with. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to go to the enemy melee script, and what we're going to do is create a new routine. So IE numerator, and we'll call this received damage. And in here, we're going to determine how much damage we're receiving. So we said we're colliding with the player melee, and so the damage will be based on that. So the you'd return new wait for seconds would be representative of the attack rate of the melee unit. And then we need a variable for the enemy unit. So we're going to say this can be a private, and like I said, it cannot be static. So private int, and it will be enemy HP, and it'll be set to 10. So now it is minusing its own HP. Again, the individual units are tracking how much damage they're receiving as opposed to how much damage they are giving. So minus equals 5. And then start coroutine, and it is the receive damage coroutine. And now we just take this and pop this up here. So again, this is the enemy melee script. When it detects a collision with another object, if the tag of that object is R melee, then the enemy unit is going to stop moving, and it's going to start this coroutine, and this coroutine will remove 5 points from its own HP. So now it's just a matter of taking that and reciprocating that with the player unit. So we'll give the player So in melee.com, private int, and we'll just call this unit HP, and we'll also set it to 10. And we're just going to overtly copy and paste this. Again, partially out of laziness and reinforcing the fact that it is not new functionality. We've already covered this. We just have to change this. When I say unit HP, yes, unit HP. And okay, so this is part of the player melee conscript. So when it detects a collision with another object, if the tag of that object is enemy melee, it stops moving and it starts the receive damage coroutine. And in that, it is now checking to see how much damage it is receiving. So the only thing left is to make the units be destroyed. So in the update section of both of these, we're going to check that new HP variable. So if unit HP is less than 1, then destroy game object. And we'll have to change just a little bit. We'll copy this, go to melee, and in this case it's enemy HP is less than 1, then destroy game object. Now, depending on timing, one may get destroyed and the other not, or they may be simultaneously destroyed. Depends exactly how this is being tracked by the system. And a brief splice because it didn't run, and it didn't run for a really, really ridiculous reason, so I just spliced it out, but I'll show you. See the asterisk up here? That means that it's not saved. So what happened is even though I put in the unit HP here, it didn't work. So we'll save it, and we'll run it. And there we go. So what we're going to do, we are going to add additional code to look for the other collisions now. Actually, I think I'm going to take a break here because dealing with collision with the archer is more complicated because both we need to add a means for the archer to detect the oncoming melee unit because right now the archer only stops based on the collision with that invisible stopper we put on the ground. So we have to come up with a way for the archer to stop when it gets within a certain range of the melee unit. And then we also add the collision for the arrow to the melee unit, which isn't that hard. But since it's a little bit more complicated, let's kind of tie it off here, and then we can focus on the archer in the next one. Okay, so that should about do it for this video. I hope that you found it useful, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.